Welcome to University Systems Phishing Awareness Training. The objectives of this project are to provide just-in-time phishing awareness training, to provide pre-training information sessions and access to other phishing awareness resources prior to the deployment of any phishing scenarios, to provide access to online interactive phishing awareness training via course spaces, and to reduce security risks to faculty, staff, and the university. The purpose of this phishing awareness training is to raise security awareness and educate UVic faculty and staff on the dangers and types of phishing scams, how to avoid malicious hackers, how to protect their personal information, how to avoid sending email that may look like phishing to others, and how to minimize the risk of phishing to the university. By the end of this session, you will know what a phish is, so you can identify one right away, what phishing and spear phishing are, so you can know the difference between the two and can determine whether you're being targeted directly, the types of phishing scams, so you can spot the obvious phishing attempts, why phishing is an issue, so you can know the risks for yourself and the university, what UVic is doing about phishing, so you can rest assured that University Systems is taking the necessary steps to reduce phishing scams on campus, how you can help minimize the risk of phishing at UVic, so you can protect your personal information as well as UVic's data, how to avoid phishing emails on your desktop computer and mobile device, so you can apply simple security measures to protect your personal information, how to craft an email so it doesn't look like a phish, so you can rest assured that your emails are being read and not deleted, how to report a phishing email, so you can help protect the university as well as other faculty and staff, how to self-register for online phishing awareness training, so you can learn valuable information and become more security aware, and how to access available resources, so you can apply the tips and tools you need to avoid phishing attempts. All UVic faculty and staff are encouraged to self-register and attend an information session on phishing awareness training, self-register for online training via course spaces, and access available resources. Note, only a designated target group of staff on campus will participate in a series of scheduled phishing scenarios. All other faculty and staff will not participate in any phishing scenarios. So, what is a phish? The type of phish we're talking about are cyberphish. Phish meaning to lure unsuspecting internet users to a fake website by sending an authentic-looking email in an attempt to steal passwords or financial information, or to infect their computer. The first recorded mention of the word phishing was in 1987, when it was termed in a hacking program that was used to crack computers and steal passwords. So what is phishing? Phishing is a form of fraud in which the attacker tries to gain access to your login credentials or account information by masquerading as a reputable entity or person. Targeted attacks typically start with a phishing email sent to as many people as possible that contains a link to a malicious website. It can often appear to come from a trusted source. After clicking on the link, the attacker will attempt to infect and take control over the victim's computers or harvest their usernames and passwords. So what is spear phishing? Spear phishing can also appear to come from a trusted source. However, it is highly targeted. The message will often be sent to one person or a few selected individuals who have access to highly confidential information or servers. The attacker will then often research the intended victim's social media profiles and craft a highly customized email that will appear to be credible. So what are some of the types of phishing scams? Well, there's replying to an email. Some cybercriminals will masquerade themselves as a sender that you know and trust and will try to persuade you to reply to an email with highly confidential information or even send them an attachment, for example, a list of employees or payroll data. There's clicking on a URL. Some cybercriminals will entice you to click on a link in an email that appears to be legitimate, but is actually controlled by them. You will often be redirected to a fake login access page that resembles the real website. There's filling in a form. Some cybercriminals will try to persuade you to fill in a form, which asks for your personal information or login credentials. They will then attempt to breach your account or sell your credentials to other interested parties. There's opening an attachment. Some cybercriminals will try to persuade you to open an email attachment which contains malware that will infect your computer or the university's network. Be sure to always examine the attachment file type. If you're expecting to receive a PDF file, you want to make sure that the extension says PDF. So, why is phishing such an issue? Well, as we know, UVic emails have been targeted by phishing scams for quite some time. Phishing attempts are becoming more and more sophisticated these days, and our personal information at work and at home are highly at risk. The university is also at risk because our systems store highly confidential data, such as social insurance numbers, banking information, such as direct deposit, health information, student data, etc. Here are some recent phishing examples from 2016. In March, a new variant of ransomware known as Locky targeted the University of Victoria and many other organizations. The attackers behind Locky used spam email campaigns and compromised websites to aggressively push their malware. The University of Calgary was also hit by a significant ransomware attack on June 7th. This attack resulted in widespread IT service disruptions spanning several days, and the university had to pay a ransom of about $20,000 Canadian. Ransomware is the use of software to encrypt or scramble files, rendering them inaccessible without a decryption key. The criminals then attempt to extort profit from the ransomware attack by selling the key back to the victim. Red Deer College managed to thwart off a ransomware attack on June 22nd. This attack happened after an employee downloaded an infected file, but quickly noticed something was wrong and alerted the school's IT help desk. The school was then able to lock down their system within about 5 minutes, and there was no loss of data. So what is UVic doing about phishing? University Systems employs 2 methods to reduce phishing spam on campus. There's the DNS Blacklist, a service that rejects all emails from computers known to generate spam, and Spam Assassin, a product running on the UVic mail server that checks all email received from off-campus against a set of spam filtering rules. By employing these methods, UVic manages to filter approximately 800,000 fraudulent emails per day. To learn more about spam filtering for uvic.ca email addresses, visit the University Systems website and search for spam filtering. So what can faculty and staff do to help minimize the risk of phishing at UVic? Well, in addition to protecting your personal information, the university also needs your help to protect UVic's data. You can do that by keeping your antivirus software up to date, keep your computer and key software such as your web browser, Adobe Reader, Adobe Flash, Microsoft Office, and Java up to date, use enterprise systems such as Connect and departmental file storage to store documents, back up your data securely, and use secure passphrases and change them regularly. So you may be wondering, how can I avoid phishing emails on my desktop computer? Well, here are 10 ways to spot a phish. Always examine the sender of the email. Check the email address in the header by hovering your mouse over top of the email address. If it's different from the address that's displayed, the message is probably fraudulent or malicious. Check for spelling mistakes and bad grammar. Authentic messages usually don't have major spelling mistakes or poor grammar. If it's written poorly, don't open it. Examine the URL. If you click on a link in an email, be sure to check that the website you end up at is what you expected. Review the salutation and check for legitimate contact information. If addressed to vague valued customer, it's probably a phish. Lack of details about the sender or how you can contact them or their company strongly suggests a phish. Does the email ask for personal information? Legitimate banks, most other companies, and UVic will never ask for personal credentials via email. Does the email ask you to send money to cover expenses? Any email that asks you for money to cover expenses, such as your taxes or fees, is probably a phishing attack or a scam. Are you being asked to click on links? If the email looks unfamiliar or is unexpected, don't click on it. You can right-click on the URL and select Copy Hyperlink and paste into Notepad to determine if the link is legitimate. Too good to be true? Lots of phishing emails try to entice you with offers that are unbelievable. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Are unrealistic threats being made? Any email message that makes unrealistic threats is probably a phish. For example, companies that threaten you with account closure or some sort of loss if you don't act immediately. Or something just doesn't look right. If something doesn't look right, it's a good indication that something is wrong, and the email is probably fraudulent. Trust your gut. When in doubt, phone a friend or a colleague and ask if they received the same email. Or you can contact the computer help desk. So you may be wondering, how do I craft an email that doesn't look like a phish? Well, here are a few tips on how to craft an email. Avoid using URL shorteners such as bit.ly, tinyurl, and Google URL. When using links, be sure to include the full URL. Only use links that are copy and pastable. Link to legitimate resources on a UVic website. Include your UVic contact information. Only send email from a uvic.ca email address. Avoid using vague salutations such as hello or dear user. And you want to include a brief description about the document you are attaching. Now you may be wondering, how do I avoid phishing emails on my mobile device? Well, here are a few tips to ensure that you don't get hooked. If you receive a text message from a company asking for your personal information and you think it may be legitimate, call the company to verify the text. iPhone and iPad users can preview the full URL in Safari by tapping and holding down the link until an action screen appears. If the URL looks suspicious, click on Cancel and delete the email message. Using common sense by taking the time to closely inspect the links in your emails and text messages will increase your mobile security. If the text message looks very suspicious, don't click on it. Now you may be wondering, how do I report a phishing email? Well, if you receive what you think is a phishing message, you can either delete the email if you're pretty sure it is a phishing message and you don't have time to deal with it, check with a friend or colleague first to see if they received the same email, or you can help protect UVic by reporting the email to the computer help desk or your local IT support person. Be sure to send the email as an attachment so that the email headers and any embedded links are included. The help desk will then analyze the message and implement a block of the phishing URL for on-campus internet connections. To forward the email as an attachment, click on More beside Forward in your Outlook ribbon and select Forward as an Attachment. To self-register for online phishing awareness training, open your browser and navigate to uvic.ca/phishing. Then click on the Register button. Information on UVic's Phishing Awareness Training campaign and other related resources can be found on the University Systems website at uvic.ca/phishing. Now here are a few sample phishing emails. This particular one came from Apple. There's a few red flags that I can see right away. The word Apple is spelled incorrectly. The order total at the top is $23.62. The order total at the bottom is $11.62. And when I hovered my mouse over top of account verification, it showed a very suspicious looking URL. In this case, if you've ordered something from Apple, you'd want to go to their official website and then sign in to check the status of your order. This example shows an email from UPS indicating that your package has experienced an exception. They are asking you to click on the attached shipping label to verify your shipping information. In this case, clicking on the attachment may install malware on your computer. If you are shipping something via UPS, go directly to their website to check the status of your shipment. This is an example of an email from PayPal asking you to restore your account. Right away, I can see a fake phishing domain, suspicious-looking subject and content, and bad grammar. Hovering my mouse over the link also reveals a suspicious-looking URL, which contains a bunch of numbers. Again, to check on the status of your PayPal account, log into their official website. Thank you for taking the time to view this very important video. For more information on University Systems Phishing Awareness Training Campaign, please visit uvic.ca/phishing.